And we're off. And I troll right from the bat with F4, aka the bird's opening. And she says, interesting opening, and I shush her immediately because it is a serious FIDE rating tournament. Obviously, I was trolling there too, but the mind games are on. She's developing early. Here I go G3. I want to develop my bishop fianchetto style and castle. The whole point of this opening is to take up this vital E5 square. My opponent goes E6, bishop G2, and now Anna-Maja develops her bishop to castle short as well. Although best move is castling short here, Anna-Maja plays queen E7, an inaccurate move aimed at propelling this pawn to E5 immediately. Though this is too soon, her king is still in the center. E3, great move. E5? Should I take and open up the center? Of course, her king is wide exposed. Now I decide how I want to take this and open up the center, and I do with D4. Strong move, best move of the position. So far it is a perfect execution of a bird's opening. If she goes back with her bishop, I can even sacrifice this pawn with knight C3, and after check I'm threatening both rook E1 and the pawn. And if she castles to get out of rook E1, I have rook takes, and knight takes. Queen back, and queen F3 is winning. So she takes and I take, and she goes back. And now this entire E-file is open, straight lining her queen and king. So I force bishop E6, and now I have a very strong move. See if you can pause and solve. This is the only move for a substantial advantage. And I miss knight C3. The best move here was C4, punctuating and pressuring this pawn structure. There's a very nice line here. After takes, I can't play D5 because of rook D8, the really nice resource. And if I take, now bishop C5 wins my queen. So, if I don't play D5, I just take back. And I have C5 and a lot of compensation, a lot of center. My opponent goes bishop B4, pinning my knight to my rook. And here I take a little think because instead of this being a strong pawn, it is a very weak pawn here on C2. So I try to kick the bishop, best move. Bishop needs to do something. If it goes back, black just lost the tempo and I get B4, and so she decides to give the bishop pair. Dubious decision. Once again, white is a little bit better. Queen C7 hitting my bishop. She couldn't castle because I have bishop B4, nice little trick. So I go bishop E4 anyways now, preventing her castling rights. And now she goes A5. And here I have such a beautiful combination. Bishop C5 doubling down, restricting castling. And if she goes B6, I have C4! Sacrificing a piece, and now C takes D5, pinning this bishop. The knight can't take because I just picked this up and I hit both of these. But I didn't see this and I go back to D2. She castles and I go bishop back to F4. Reorienting my bishop on a better square and hitting the queen at once, winning that diagonal. Remember, black traded off their dark squared bishop, so all the dark squares are weak for my bishop to grasp. Here Anna-Maja thinks where she's going to put her queen. She decides to place her queen on the B6 square, X-raying this pawn to my king. This is all pinned. My king is extremely weak because of this bird's opening move, which is why the bird's opening is seen as a risky and dubious opening overall. What would you play in this position? So I play H3 just to prevent some bishop in, knight in things. This square is very important. She goes with rook C8, hinting at this weak pawn. I go bishop E5, hinting at the weak knight. She moves to D7, attacking my bishop. And I decide that I want to keep my bishop pair and I go back to F4. Rook C3, insanely good move. She's targeting my weak squares, hitting my weak pawns, and preparing to double the rooks on this weakness on C2. So what do I try to do to defend that? Rook E3. I'm trying to trade off that super good piece of hers, and she doubles down and we trade. And here my pawn is truly weak, a big liability in my position. Queen D2 to attack the rook. Now she takes a very long turn. And after a 1-minute turn, Anna-Maja finally decides on queen c6, attacking my pawn. I really want to avoid passive moves like rook c1, so I develop a very interesting idea here to circumvent that passiveness. Can you try to find what I have in mind? So of course I have to defend this pawn eventually, and so I tried to do so with my bishop, bishop f1. And the idea is that if she takes, I can take this pawn on a5 with a back rank threat potential. So all she has to do is knight f6 and she's winning with this pattern, but she takes and I take on a5. Queen d8 is luring, knight back to f8. Her pieces are obviously still dangerous except for this passive knight. So I think hard about this and I blunder the game. Queen c3 is now winning, attacking my rook and threatening queen f3 for queen f2 for queen h2. All about the weak squares. If you learn one thing from today, is attack those weak squares. Anna-Maja does not go for it and aims to trade queens, which favors me because I have a 2-on-1 on this queen side, which is better than a 3-on-2. Learn your endgames. b4, h6 to give heir to the king. I go h4. Bishop f5, bishop g2 attacking the pawn, knight b6 defending, and now the knight is sore. a4 aiming for a5, and this 2-on-1 is in full swing. Bishop e4, we trade bishops. And now this knight is an easy target. a5, knight d5, and b5. I'm attempting to create a pass pawn. An outside pass pawn at that. Anna-Maja hesitating. Rook b2, a6. And the pass pawn is created. This pawn is unstoppable. Knight b6. Aiming to block the promotion square with knight a8. a7. Forcing knight a8. And now I could just push my d-pawn, but I find rook c1 in record time, threatening the fork. g5 attacking my bishop. Check, fork, takes. Rook a2 because I was threatening rook g8 with a queen. And now I take. My bishop goes to e5. Check on the king. I'm up a full bishop. I sack my bishop if king takes rook f8. And now I go rook h8, a standard technique. If the rook takes, I have rook h7 with a beautiful skewer. e3. And now I have to cash in that queen. The queen is in my hand. a8 queen. e2. Check. Sacrificing my bishop. Please take. She takes. Rook f8. The mate is coming and she resigns. I have 4 out of 4 in this tournament. Co-leader. On the other board, the guy in the green shirt is about to win, and that is round 5 for me. If you want to see that game, it was a catastrophic, crazy, chaotic game. Like this video for more. Thank you so much for watching.